So let's talk about property. What's the very first question that pops into your head? If you're like pretty much everyone, it's probably, what's it worth? But what if I told you that's actually the wrong question to be asking? Today, we're going to dig into why and figure out what question you should be asking instead. I mean, we've all done it, right? What's this house worth? What's the value of this office building? It feels so natural, so obvious. It seems like the only place to start. But here's the thing. In the world of professional valuation, starting there can lead you completely astray. The real answer is, well, it's a lot more specific.
You see, according to the international standards that the pros use, there's this little secret. They're not actually putting a price tag on the physical bricks and mortar or the plot of land itself. No, they're valuing something much more precise, something that's defined by law.
And that right there, that single quote from the professional standards, it changes everything. The focus isn't on the thing itself, it's on the legal rights that you have to that thing. And that one little distinction, it's the key to understanding this entire topic. So this gets to the absolute heart of all property valuation. It's all about this fundamental split between the physical asset you can walk up to and touch and the legal rights that you actually own. They might sound like the same thing, but in the eyes of the law and, more importantly, the market, they are worlds apart. Okay, so let's break this down. Look over here on the left, you've got real estate. That's the physical stuff, right? The land, the building on it, that's the thing. But then look at the right, you have real property. And that is the bundle of legal rights, the interests, and all the benefits that come with ownership. And this is the whole game right here. Value is attached to the column on the right, the real property, not just the physical stuff on the left. So yeah, that's the key takeaway. Just burn this into your brain. We value the legal interest, not just the physical asset. And I'm telling you, once this clicks, the whole world of property valuation just opens up and starts to make perfect sense. Okay, so if the value is tied up in the rights, then what exactly are these rights? Well, this is where it gets fun. The classic way to think about it is like a bundle of sticks. Imagine that owning a property completely with no strings attached is like holding this whole big bundle of sticks. But in the real world, you might only own a few of those sticks, or your bundle might be missing some pretty important ones. All right, first up is what we call fee simple. This is the big one. It's the most complete form of ownership you can have, and it's what we usually mean when we say someone owns a property. It's like holding that entire bundle of sticks. But, and this is a big but, even fee simple isn't absolute. It can still be limited by things like a mortgage, zoning laws, or maybe an easement that lets the power company onto your land. Now let's talk about something we can all relate to, a lease. A tenant has what's called a leasehold interest. Now, they don't own the building, but they own the exclusive right to use it for a set amount of time. And that right has real value. Think about it. If they're paying rent that's way, way below what new tenants are paying, that lease, that piece of paper, is suddenly worth a ton of money. And then, of course, you've got the other side of that coin, the landlord. They have a leased-fee interest. Their part of the bundle is the right to collect all those rent checks, plus the right to get the whole property back when the lease is up. It's a totally separate interest from the tenants. And guess what? It has its own completely different value. And believe me, the list just keeps going. You can have partial interests, like when a few siblings own a property together. You can have specific use rights, like an easement that lets your neighbor use your driveway. Or your interest can be encumbered, basically weighed down by a mortgage. Each one of these is a different stick or a different combination of sticks from that bundle, and each one has to be valued on its own. All right, so now that we're all trained to look for the right and not just the thing, we can start spotting the mistakes people make. This brings us to some huge red flags you can look for in any appraisal or valuation report that comes across your desk. So here's what to watch out for. A big red flag is when a report confuses just being on the property with true legal ownership, or if it just assumes that having the title means there are no other claims, like a mortgage. A massive one is ignoring a lease. We just saw how that creates totally different interests. And of course, there's the classic mistake, just valuing the land and the building while totally ignoring the specific legal rights being analyzed. And really, all of those mistakes boil down to this one massive error. If a valuation gets this wrong, if it confuses the physical asset with the legal interest, then the entire foundation of that report is just broken. It's an error that can cause huge financial and legal headaches down the road. Okay, so let's bring this all back around. How do we actually get this right? Well, it all goes back to the beginning. We have to throw out that first, simple question and swap it for one that demands a precise answer. It's all about asking the right question from the get-go to get an answer that actually means something.
So this is what we need to stop doing. A simple statement like, the value of the property is X, is totally incomplete. It's not wrong exactly, but it's so vague it's almost meaningless. Which property are we talking about? Which set of rights is actually worth X?
Now, this is what we're looking for. A correct professional conclusion will always specify the interest. The market value of the fee simple interest is X, or the leased fee interest is X. See that little phrase in the middle? That changes everything. It gives you the legal clarity you absolutely have to have. So a really good, compliant report is going to answer these key questions, plain and simple. Whose interest is it? What exact right are we talking about? Are there any burdens, like a lease or a mortgage, that affect it? And this is so important, what documents, like the title or the lease, were actually reviewed to back all this up? This is the level of detail you should expect. So the next time you find yourself looking at a property, or maybe reading a valuation report, what are you going to be thinking about? The physical building that you can see with your own eyes, or that invisible bundle of rights that holds all the real value? Because now you know the right question to ask.